wealthy is about having a sustainable income stream that you can rely on no matter what happens. Whether you're the high-earning woman or not, check in on your finances, know where it's located. We deserve to be financially sound, and we also need to be prepared to be responsible for our finances.
Today we are moving beyond basic budgeting to discuss high-level wealth design. In 2026, financial independence for high-earning women isn't just about the size of the paycheck. It's about the strategic structure behind it.
Lack of knowledge can compound and doesn't make you feel any more confident. So take that one step to increase your confidence. Take what are you doing right now to improve your circumstances.
Hello everyone, this is Kripa Anand and welcome to the She and Success podcast, powered by She and Success Business Magazine, a platform dedicated to spotlighting the voices, strategies and journeys of women leaders and entrepreneurs who are shaping Canada's business and policy landscape. Today we are moving beyond basic budgeting to discuss high-level wealth design. In 2026, financial independence for high-earning women isn't just about the size of the paycheck. It's about the strategic structure behind it. Joining us today is Jackie Potter, an award-winning certified financial planner and founder of Team Jackie Potter. Named the 2023 Canadian Advisor of the Year, Jackie is a leading voice for high-earning professionals and entrepreneurs. She is the co-author of Single by Choice or Chance and host of the High Earning Women podcast. So before further ado, let's welcome this very special guest. Jackie, welcome to the podcast. Such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Jackie, you work with women who earn significant incomes, right? Yet many still have a lot of structural gaps that could compromise their long-term security. So let's start by understanding, from your perspective, what financial blind spots prevent high-earning women from building that long-lasting wealth? Go ahead.
I think the first blind spot is really thinking that they can out-earn their way out of any financial difficulties they might be having. And so if we think about that, why do they think they can out-earn their way out of it? It could be that they aren't looking at their cash flow. They don't really understand where their money is going, if it's even serving them, if it aligns with what they value. So that's the first one. It could be that they're not paying attention to how much taxes that they're paying. So they think, oh, maybe if I earn more next year, I can outrun, have enough, even that much more to pay my tax bill.
Right.
So that's another big one. And I think also just not even factoring in how much they're going to need for retirement. We actually live longer than men. So we need to also put our money to work investing, not just saving. So those, I'd say, would be the three. Is just having lazy money around is a really important thing that we can't outrun. We have to make strategic decisions.
Well, definitely, recognizing that a high salary doesn't automatically mean, equal financial security is the first step towards wealth management. And on that note, if I were to ask you, Jackie, in 2026, what is more important, being rich or being wealthy?
Oh,
what would you say?
I always say to people that being rich is an event. You can be rich, but you can also be poor. Being wealthy is about having a sustainable income stream that you can rely on no matter what happens. So it's basically putting your money to work, giving your money a job, and creating multiple streams of income so that you're not reliant on one stream of income, making you much more financially resilient. Being rich, event could happen. And you could be poor. We know that, for example, people who win the lottery, 5 years later, they're back to being poor, which is why I'm like, it's an event. Yay, I won the lottery. But that's because they weren't strategic. They didn't think about how they were going to make that money actually create a long-term stream of income for them that's sustainable.
Of course, the happiness that people get when they see surplus of money is what usually blinds their common sense of, understanding that if you spend, this will get over, right? And you need to invest, and wisely so, just so that you can enjoy those benefits for a fuller, longer life.
Right, because somebody who's thinking, I'm rich, that's a
Yeah.
mindset, right?
Exactly.
So if you're thinking you're rich, then you're potentially just thinking, I have all this money to spend.
Right.
Whereas somebody who's wealthy is thinking, all right, now I have this money. How am I going to employ this money? Make these dollars that I have in my account employees to work for me.
Wow. So, it's funny how everything in life literally boils down to the mindset that you have at the end of the day, right? That's amazing. Now, Jackie, let's explore how shifting household roles are redefining the modern breadwinner dynamic. And this is a pretty interesting one. So, I'd love to understand, you experience meeting so many people every single day through the business that you do. I'm sure a lot of different stories and a lot of different narratives must come your way, right? So, how do these breadwinner dynamics affect financial decisions in couples in 2026?
Well, the exciting thing is more and more women are becoming the breadwinners. And actually, a lot of young women, millennial women, also Gen Xers are just because they have really pushed achievement, pushed ambition, and are taking their place and earning a good income. So I think what that's shifting is women being more interested in um, making decisions about money in the family,
Yeah.
making sure that their money is being put to work, having much more say in, and that's really important. And I think that's really important even if you're not the breadwinner, is being that person who's taking a look at what's going on in the household finances, because so that's the good part. The other part of that is you could be that woman who is making a good income, but financially you're not in control of the wealth at home. You're financially also not making the decisions at home. You don't even know where the money is located at home. My biggest concern is when I talk to women who tell me either that they're doing well financially and they're making money and they don't know what's going on with their finances at home. Maybe they're not the steward of their finances. So they don't often find out where they stand, those women. It doesn't mean if it doesn't matter sometimes if they're the high earning woman until a divorce or until a death, if their actual spouses were the stewards, were good stewards. So my message to women is whether you're the high earning woman or not, either way, check in on your finances, know where it's located. The last thing you want to find out when you lose the person you love, whether through a divorce or death, is that they gambled your money away, they put your money in crypto, and you didn't know what was really going on with your finances, and you're in financial ruin, not because of decisions you made. That's hard enough, but it's at least bearable. But when somebody else makes it, or they put you in debt. So all of these things mean as women, we need to be prepared to take control of our finances. We need to check in on our finances if we're not the breadwinner. We deserve to be financially sound, and we also need to be prepared to be responsible for our finances, and we should be curious about that.
Of course, first of all, very well articulated, and thank you so much for explaining it so simply and so beautifully. I think navigating the emotional side of money is just as important as the technical side, right, for the long term relationship success.
Totally. Because at the end of the
Yeah,
day, we live, again, longer than men.
yeah.
We are assume that at some point, because we live longer than men, we're going to be responsible for our finances. So embrace it.
Definitely, right? You don't want to be at that point where you can't do anything about it at that point, right? So it's better to do something about it right now instead of being in that helpless state of mind, right?
Absolutely. And that actually is probably the thing I see that
Yeah.
that makes me sad. That makes me concerned for women, is if we're in that state where we are relying on other people to help us feel confident about our money. We can only do that if we're prepared to be educated
Right.
and ask questions. So even if you're talking to someone like myself, a financial planner, or you're talking to your partner, you ask questions and you don't understand what they're saying, demand to get clarity, because you can only become confident when you're clear.
Definitely, thank you so much for putting that up as well. Because building on that, next I'd want to understand the platform that you were trying to create to help women in achieving that gap, right? To the high earning women watching, in 2026, stop letting your lifestyle happen by accident. If you are working 60 hours a week just to see a number in a bank account grow without a plan for freedom, you aren't building wealth. You're just busy. Wealth design is about choosing your exit strategy, optimizing your taxes, and ensuring your money serves the life you actually want to live. Don't wait for someday to enjoy your success. Build the structure that gives you permission to live your best life today. All right, it's time for a quick break right here, but don't go anywhere because there's so much more that Jackie wants to share with you. Stay tuned.
At Purolator, we understand the importance of every delivery, whether it's a document, a special gift, a critical healthcare shipment, or an entire warehouse worth of inventory. Throughout our more than 60-year history, we've honed our expertise to build out a powerful portfolio of logistics services that enable us to deliver on every promise. Whether shipping across town or around the globe, from small and medium-sized businesses to industrial, technology, retail, and healthcare sectors, Purolator serves a diverse array of customers. So no matter what, where, or when you're shipping, Purolator's expertise, experience, and innovative solutions enable us to deliver on your promises.
Welcome back to the She and Success podcast. Let's get into the strategies that help business owners turn income into lasting, tax-efficient wealth. So let's explore how Jackie's platform is empowering high-earning women to build lasting wealth. Jackie, how has the conversation about women and money evolved through your platform?
Well, I would probably say that for me, it's important to create as many resources as I possibly can. And many years ago, I started to do articles and videos just explaining money in as simple a terms as I can for people. And as like those resources evolved, I decided that I wanted to do a podcast on this, and it's called the High Earning Women Podcast. And it's really about not just getting information out there, getting information about finances, money. I also wanted to talk about money in life, because I think sometimes when we have conversations about money, it's isolated from life. It makes it not as real for people. So I want to talk about, what's going on in people's lives, because having money, it's about choice. So what do we want our money to do for us? Is it to create freedom so we can retire sooner? Is it to make our children safer? Is it to give to a charity? Like, let's talk about, what can money actually do for us? Women work so hard. We're often also the invisible worker, that we don't get paid for jobs, like taking care of the family, looking after our aging parents. We don't get paid for those things. And often we don't earn as much as men. So I just really want to get women excited about their lives, about what money can do for them, and also ways they can use money to create that leverage. Leverage just means if you're a business owner, how can you actually make money work harder for you in your business from a cash flow perspective? Can you actually look at your balance sheet and know, or look at your cash flow statement and know there's ways to create more income for you? That doesn't mean you working harder. Or is it, being able to invest in such a way that will give you more return so that you can retire sooner, or you can take time off to help an aging parent, or just take time off because you deserve it. I've talked to many clients who just decided, they're burnt out from a job that burned them out and they wanted to take time off, and working on a plan or understanding, discovering how money works, they understood that they could have that leverage.
Wow. I think seeing women step into their financial power with confidence, is the proof that these conversations are changing the economic fabric of Canada. And thank you so much for being such an important part of this journey, Jackie. Now I'm loving this conversation, and definitely we'd love for you to be back for another
Love to.
exciting episode that we do.
Love to.
But for now, Jackie, before we let you go, if there's one final piece of advice that you have for the high earning women who are still a little unsure about their financial goals and planning, if you could whisper one thing into their ear, what would be and why?
I think that we spend a lot of time in our heads when it comes to money, and then we put off things. So I think if anything resonated for you today about the conversation is go do some research, do some digging, start looking, take action around your finances. Think about what one thing you do well that you can emphasize in your financial life this year, and one thing you need to learn and start taking the step to discover. But don't put it off, because just like money can compound over time, lack of knowledge can compound and doesn't make you feel any more confident. So take that one step to increase your confidence. And that only happens with action.
Of course.
Right? Like I'm the person who's always thinking about, I'm trying to lose 5 pounds all the time to fit into my clothes since COVID. But if I don't take a step around there, getting on the scale, looking at ways, going to the gym, I'm going to be in the same place I was. And that means my weight will keep creeping up and I'll never get back to my COVID weight. So what are you doing right now to improve your circumstances so tomorrow looks a little different when it comes to being more confident?
No, definitely. That's a beautiful answer, because I've personally experienced this myself. Sometimes you just talk about it so much that your brain gets the dopamine already, right? And you don't actually do the things then. But that is a great reminder that the best time to start designing your future is right now. Thank you so much for joining us, Jackie. It was such a pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your insights.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, that was Jackie Potter from Team Jackie Potter, a masterclass on how to move from accumulation to intentional wealth design. To all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning into the She and Success podcast, powered by She and Success Business Magazine. Be sure to subscribe for more expert insights and visit sheandsuccess.ca for more resources. And lastly, a very special thank you to our exclusive shipping partner, Purolator, for their ongoing commitment to supporting women entrepreneurs and helping them build, grow, and lead successful businesses across Canada. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.